Welcome to this second episode of the Circleg webinar series. I'm very happy to host also the second session. This time the title is The Next Gen Prosthetics, How to Work with the Circleg System. And I'm very happy to have this discussion with Lizzie Carrey. She's actually a clinical prosthetist. And a little side story, we are currently both in Sweden, in Stockholm. We just came from the biggest prosthetic fair that is held annually, this time in Stockholm. So our brains are already full of topics that are around the field of prosthetics, so very interesting. And that's why I'm even more excited to talk today with Lizzie about how to work with the Circleg system and how the approach of Circleg is to work with the product, but also the people behind it. And Lizzie, to start with, I would love if you introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Simon. I'm excited to be involved in today's webinar. It's a great topic as well. I'm Lizzie. I am a clinical prosthetist, originally from the UK, trained in Manchester, and I now live in New Zealand. I've been working with Circleg over the last, I think, 12 to 18 months with the release of the transfemoral and transtibial system. And yeah, been enjoying working with the team.
Thanks a lot. The reason why we chose to have Lizzie in this session is because she has a lot of experience hands-on. So she's a clinical prosthetist. So she still works with a lot of different people, a lot of different systems, and she works also with the Circleg system. So for us, it was important to have someone that has the big picture view, not just on the Circleg system, but a bit of the industry and also a bit of holistic approach. And I think that's very interesting also how we met, Lizzie. I think what resonated when we talked about the session today, what you also said is what resonated for you the first time you heard about Circleg was this holistic approach. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that before we dive into the topic.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the major points of what brought and draw me to Circleg is just the mentality of the team and the drive of Circleg, and why they have brought out these beautiful products, but also their why and their intention is throughout everything they do. It's true to the core of who they are as a team, and that they don't just focus on numbers or things like this, but they are focusing on the people and the outcomes that come from these products and come from change. And yeah, driving that holistic care is a beautiful approach, but focusing on the person who is going to receive these and what they can do if they receive these products. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Very good bridge to what I want to say now, because before we dive into the product and how we work with the Circleg technology is about what do we want to achieve? What is actually the aim? And also Liz and me together, we talked about it before we have this session. We're like, okay, any prosthetist or also prosthetic components manufacturer has actually the goal to achieve something. And what is that? Why are we doing the things we do? Why do prosthetists do the prosthetist work? Why do we produce components and why do we have a holistic approach? What is this common thing? And we had one word that stood out, and this was participation. And participation in the sense of we want to empower people to participate again in life and not just be able to walk again, and this is one part of it, but actually to feel I'm part of society, I'm part of life again, and I am in the driver's seat to live the life I want to live. And this was a very beautiful discussion, and we thought to visualize that in a way, we want to show a video that that we usually show when we talk about this is this one that you hopefully see now. So it's Alex, a friend of ours, that and what this does is what this shows is actually more than just walking. It's really participating in daily life again. So for us, this is the expression of participation. You know, someone that before was not able to move now can decide, hey, I want to take part in a cycling race, or actually in this case, an awareness campaign about mobility, because it's what I want to do and it's what and it fulfills me as well. So for us, this is really something that visualizes this in a good way. I don't know, Lizzie, if you can tell in your words what this means to you from your perspective.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic because often we focus so solely on walking, especially in our clinical centers. We're watching how someone walks on the flat ground, but we don't just do that in our daily life. Life is full of so much more. It's full of our daily roles and our identities, whether we're a husband, a business owner, a sister. We have things we need to fulfill in our day, and duties we want to be able to do. Maybe it's walk holding your partner's hand and not having to use two crutches or something. But I think showing this video and taking a look at this is showing how opportunities have opened up with him having access to a prosthetic that gives him the confidence that when he steps off the bike, it's there for him, and that he can cycle without any issues. He can go for the full rotation of the pedal and join in and participate in something that maybe subconsciously or consciously he had limited himself to doing beforehand. And I think that is what's really beautiful, is that the world opens up for you when you have a tool that you can use in a way that you weren't able to move before.
Very nice, very nice. And we talked about it, is the question, what does it mean that a prosthetic works for someone? It goes much beyond just the functionality of, okay, this person is able to walk. And I think that's what we try to bring as Circleg into this field, is really, okay, there's a human behind it. And maybe for someone, the prosthetic works means something else than for someone else. For Alex, it means I want to be able to cycle again. For someone else, it can mean I just want to be able to work, and this is a specific moment that is functioning for me. So in one sentence, Lizzie, what would you say? What does it mean prosthetic works for someone?
In one sentence, I'm not good at summarizing really short. I'll rant for a long time, but I think if it's working for someone, then it has to be successful in the ways that patient wants it to work for them, whatever that looks like. If it is to be able to carry a cup of tea across the room, if it is to be able to stand whilst you prepare some food, if that is what you have as your goal, it needs to be able to fulfill that to be a success. So everybody is individual and has their own dreams and goals. And I think that is what's really beautiful, is that Circleg has picked up this shift that is gradually happening in the prosthetic world and medical world, that things are not just provider decisions, they are patient-centered decisions, and really focusing on that patient's potential, what their goals are, and working in collaboration with them, with the rest of the team as well.
Really nice. The word that comes into my mind here is listening, being able to listen to your user, thinking of what is possible for them should be based on what their needs are, and this implies a good listening. So in your experience, what are some of the common blockers in the collaboration between prosthetists and amputees in finding out, like, what do you really want and what are your needs?
I think to start with, knowledge is key for the amputee. If the amputee does not know what is possible for them, they may have all these limitations and less drive to go and try things, because they might just subconsciously hold themselves back. So I think that's a good initial point. So awareness and seeing other amputees, doing activities and living fulfilled lives can give like a new amputee hope and drive as well. But I think also it's really important to dig deeper. So sometimes we'll ask our patient, "Oh, how are you doing?" And they say, "I'm fine." Okay, cool, easy day. But actually, that fine might be hiding a lot of other issues that are going on that they don't know yet how to bring up. So something that's been discussed recently is changing the idea of outcome measures as evidence that a clinic is doing well to becoming a target for an amputee to achieve. Like we would maybe look at our phone or our watch to see how many steps we did in the day, and we're like, I should try and do 10,000 steps a day, but I'm only doing 3,000. So I have a goal and that's what I can work to. Is kind of helping amputees set those goals and knowing what is like the average, so they know, what to compare to, and then work with them from that about, okay, how can we achieve this and what's holding you back. And these kind of questionnaires you get in outcome measures can highlight some of the issues, like maybe it's going down slopes as their struggle, or carrying items whilst they've got their prosthetic. And so getting some more rehabilitation in can get them stronger and more confident. So I think really just that change of shift of how can I help this person, and really directing everything we do to be about them really helps them be empowered.
Mm. And when I now come from a very practical point of view, so I'm a prosthetist, I have many appointments a day, I need to rush through a little bit. I know I have like 5 patients I need to see. How would you say I need to go about, or do I need to prioritize my tasks that I can actually fulfill what you just mentioned?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of decisions that have to be done in the background, and that can be quite overloading for prosthetists. We have lots of options that we have to consider, and then we have materials as well as products, and then we have to focus on the person. So I don't think it all needs to be fully solely weighted on the prosthetist. Work with your team, work with, if you have like a rehab specialist or consultant doctor, they can also help towards this. Working with a physiotherapist or an occupational therapist can also help. And also having peer support can also help people bring these ideas out. So it's not solely on the prosthetist, but they're part of the puzzle. I think one of the main things is for the prosthetist, when they walk through that door to see the patient, is being able to just go, okay, I'm here, I'm really present, and I'm going to really listen and be like active listening for this moment. And if you need to take a break or take a moment, if things are overloaded, step away and take a breather and come back, so that you're giving your all to that moment. And then you might need to juggle your manufacturing, like jobs, like 2 at a time or something in those cases. But I think what's beautiful about the Circleg is, this foam cover really reduces the time for you in terms of how much fabrication you have to do. So then using tools wisely can really help mean that you can change the ratio of your time behind the scenes to in front of the patient, and the service level that goes with that improves and increases, and patients really respond to that well.
I really love that. I mean, there's this saying, sharpening the knife makes all the difference, like when you spend a little bit more time in the base work, which in that case is the listening and the finding out what does this person really need, you have a much better outcome down the line, in comparison with if you rush it through and then you have something, but maybe it doesn't really fit the needs. And I also really like what you said before. It's not everything is on the prosthetist. And I think that's a beautiful bridge to the holistic approach that we also try to foster with our work that we do at Circleg, is that it should be a teamwork, right? The prosthetist should collaborate with a physiotherapist. They should collaborate with psychosocial support and with the person itself, ideally already the surgeon, right? So that you have a complete picture of how can we support a person to regain mobility and to be empowered and actually enable them to participate again. So how do you see this holistic approach happening in daily life?
I think it's important that we respect the different stages of the journey for an amputee. As a primary or as a freshly amputated person, then you're going to be coming into a clinic for the first time, and that's a very different experience than being like an established amputee coming back for reviews and repairs and things. So, as a new amputee, when you enter that facility, having that joint discussion with the MDT, the multidisciplinary team, so having the physiotherapist and the prosthetist, if possible, a rehab consultant, talk with the person, provide them the links for peer support, and having that open conversation so that everybody's on the same page and here for them through their journey is really important. If there's any psych support available as well, and I think often we can, with established amputees, feel that we know this person, like, oh, you're back, hi, how are you doing? But people change, and people go through different life stages and they want different things. And I think, as an able-bodied person, if I want to go and try basketball next week, I might have an old pair of trainers I could use, and maybe a friend has a ball I could try and borrow, or I just turn up somewhere and join a game. The access is there's less restrictions and limitations, and so maybe an amputee has just automatically said, maybe I can't access that, maybe I can't do that. But actually discussing with them, oh, is there anything that you've been interested in doing? Have you been wanting to go to the gym or stay active in any way? They might go, oh, my friend has started playing football, but I don't know how I could join in. And then whether you can say, actually, if you do this and this, then you could easily do that. Or, yeah, you can cycle. That's not a worry. Try it on the static bike first and see how you go if you need to have that balance, So I think that's really important to remember, that people change. Sometimes people have been someone who enjoys doing art, but now they want to start going to the gym, That's how the human life works. We go through different stages.
Yeah, absolutely. And in our experience from Circleg, and I think you see it now also on the screen, is to, if you have different people looking at this human from different angles with the different expertise, you really have an impact that goes beyond just the leg. And we, in our experience, we had a lot of beautiful examples of that, where we worked with physiotherapists, and you could see the before and after just one session. In a very beautiful way, you could see that these people use the prosthetic in a very different way, which really favors their gait and also their mobility in the end. So this is really about encouraging you as a prosthetist also to having an overview, okay, what kind of elements I can push and also, delegate to others, even saying, hey, I delegate this to the physiotherapist to say, now it's your turn, try to engage them in a good way, or I lead them to psychosocial support. Just also that my outcome, my work as a prosthetist is better in the end, that really that puzzles come together.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
there's a direct relationship with people staying active and participating in activities that improves their quality of life. So, just providing a prosthetic but no physiotherapy and no gait training, long term they may get comorbidities or back pain and things. So we want to look at after the person on their full journey through life, now they're an amputee, and help them participate throughout time, not just for this year. So looking after their health and their physical health as well as mental health.
yeah, very nice. And when we talk about now, we talked a lot about the how, right? It's a very different level than just talking about the product. We will now change a little bit and talk more about the product, but this session will definitely not be about how exactly to fit the circle. Like for that, we have training material and guidance, support material, and so on. This is really more about how we think is the best way to use the Circleg technology in a daily life of a prosthetist. And this part that we just talked about is really, really essential from our side, with active listening, with involving different parties in making sure you see the person and you listen to the needs of the person. You've already covered a very big part of making a very good base for your work that comes after with the product. I don't know how you see that as a clinician. Also, I know you really like to work with the product, Lizzie. How would you say which part takes which priority?
Can you outline the question more? Sorry.
No, when we say this is so important, this work before, like this base,
Yes.
how would you also, again, coming back to that, because I know that a lot of prosthetists have such a full schedule, like how can I incorporate that in my daily life? So maybe again, to close this chapter now of this preparation, how would you say to give priority to the different things?
I think whenever you prepare well, you'll get better outcomes. If you have all your tools around you when you're going to do something that's time dependent, then you're not going to be searching for the tools. So gathering the information from the patient is getting some of the tools that you need to make this successful, and sitting down, having those conversations with your patients at the start, and thoroughly listening, is gonna improve your relationship, improve the trust, improve the understanding, improve the dialogue both ways, and you're gonna have better service. And if someone trusts you and someone is able to talk to you, then they're going to want to come back to you. So you have more repeat service from someone. And I think it'll be a lot less uphill if you've gained that relationship and that trust. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So now I would love to shift really concretely on the product. And one word that is really important to Circleg was personalization and customization of the product. And before I dive into the really Circleg components, I would love to hear from your perspective, what comes up when you hear these words?
Yeah, I think like personalization and customization, I think it shows that not everyone's the same, that we need to customize things. We already do like bespoke sockets for each individual, but looking more into, well, what does this person want? What do they want their appearance to look like? How do they want to present? What would make this theirs, and help them fully adopt the prosthetic and the pride in their prosthetic.
Yeah, very nice. When we designed the Circleg components, and I will start now specifically with the foot, adjustability and customization was a big, big criteria, because we felt on one hand, there's prosthetists that say, hey, I cannot stock for every number and every orientation a component in my warehouse, because also I don't have the funding to have like a full warehouse all the time. So can you solve this issue with your product? And this is actually what we did with the Circleg foot, and made it customizable for different sizes and orientations. And maybe Lizzie, you have already experience with working with the Circleg foot as well. Can you guide us a little bit through the steps how you can adjust the Circleg foot?
Yes, so with the Circleg foot, not only do you have the ability to change it from left to right, so with the toe piece, you can place it in any orientation on the toe to change the left or right designation of the foot, which is nice and quick and easy. But when you remove that toe piece, you also see these lines and guidelines of where to trim the foot for a particular foot size, shoe size. So yes, nice and easy with the foot clamped on the bench to be able to reduce the shape down, sawing and filing, so you don't need too many heavy tools or machinery. But what's also nice is for particular sizes, if you remove the heel piece as well, then you'll see that the toe lever is not the only one that can be shortened. The heel lever can also be shortened. And that's so that we don't just keep shortening the toe lever, we shorten it in ratio so that we still get the same dynamic rollover for the correct size foot for the patient, which is really nice.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And what implication does this have in a daily life of a prosthetist when you can adjust it to different sizes and left or right orientation?
Yeah, there's got to be at least one situation for every prosthetist where maybe the wrong foot got ordered or they wrote down right instead of left. If you sat opposite someone, it's reversed. I'm sure it's happened to everyone at least once. So this is a bit of a get out of jail card for you. But the thing about having the small, medium, and large for the feet, yeah, you can have just the basic minimum stock of 3 feet, and you've got an option for that person that day. There's no waiting for it to be ordered. You're good to go, and it's very quick to set up for the person as well. So there's less drawbacks and delays for the patient as well as for the prosthetist. And it means that if you've got an energy storing good quality foot, you're more likely on the shelf, you're more likely to go for that than order in something, even if it's ordering a sash foot in the correct size and orientation, you know. And it really does help being able to have lower stock levels in any country. People don't want to keep too many items in stock that they might not use. So yes, it's a great solution.
Nice. And the topic of individualization, personalization, or customization is not just for the foot, but also for the cover system of the Circleg product. So we talked a lot to amputees throughout the development, and what they shared with us is, hey, I want my leg to be skin color. Hey, I want to show off my leg with like the pillon. Ah, I want a red leg. I want a blue bag. I don't. I want to hide it a little bit. So what we realized, there's no solution fits all, specifically in aesthetic topics. So we were at the table and thought, like, how can we solve this? How can we provide a solution that enables the prosthetists to customize it and the amputees to personalize it to their needs? And so what we came up with is a solution that has a pre-shaped form and can be clicked together in a very simple way. And I would love now, Lizzie, because you work with it as well, like from your side as a prosthetist, what are the benefits of such a system?
Yeah, I think in practical terms for me in the clinic, it means that I can do my socket fitting, I can get all my alignment, and I can make sure everything's tight and allow the person to walk around the center, walk outdoors, try slopes, try ramps, maybe working with a physiotherapist. And then I can, have be getting the socket ready or getting the materials to cover it, the cover, or getting the materials to cover it ready. And then when they come back and they're happy, there's not hours waiting around or going home and waiting for the leg for another week or two for me to make a foam cover. It's a process of me applying the cover. If they want it removable, great, that's it. If they want it shaped a bit more, we can add some more foam on, or we can easily grind it into a shape for them, a little bit customized. We can glue it together. We can then cover it with leather or make a removable cover piece, like the sparkly one on the side. So then it gives the person a choice of how they can look for that day, if they want to have it all black as it comes, or if they want to have sparkles or another color to match the outfit. They can just have a separate cover on top of the Circleg cover, fabric cover. So I think that's really beautiful because the patient's not waiting around a long time. I don't have to get covered in foam and dust. It's quick to fit. It's nice and removable for those who do want to see the pylon. But the patient's not sat there for so long, which means they are excited, they're happy, they've done all this training, they've done the walking around, they want to take it home now and use it. And that's possible really quickly. So there's no waiting around and delays and frustration. So it just makes everything so streamlined and smooth.
Yeah, that's super nice. And what I love, you see here the photo of one of our users that, the people customize the leg how they want it to be. And this I really love to see because it's part of your body. So it's something that should fit you as a person and you as a character, how you want to express yourself. And to see people doing that is super nice to see for me as also a designer of this cover, you know, that they make it their own. I
Mhm.
think is very beautiful to see. And at the same time, we have this radical view that we want the prosthetic to be like the glasses. You know, they used to be an assistive technology that just a few people had, and now this is a fashion item. Why not a prosthetic being a fashion item? You know, and bring this level of approachability, and I can make it my own, and it's something that is part of me because I can adjust it and customize it.
Yeah, and I think
Something
in
really,
that, and in that is the self pride of your prosthetic and your identity, you know, and being confident to show it off because wow, check it out, like it's covered in diamante or something, or yeah, it's like being decorated by an artist, and it's a piece of pride for people now.
yeah, no, I really love to see that. And as I said before, there's people who love to show it off, but there's people also to like to hide it. So you see also on the picture, one looks really like skin color. So you really need to look twice. Does this person have a prosthetic? And I think to have the option to decide, even on a daily basis, you know, like today I feel good. I want to show off, but maybe there's some days that I rather hide. And I think that should be possible, also as an amputee.
Yep.
And so now we had the foot, we had the cover, and then we have also the knee. I mean, we built up the Circleg system in a way that is actually very easy to use because it's a modular system. All the prosthetists get trained on these modular systems, but there are some differences in our alignment. And I would love, Lizzie, if you can walk us a little bit through what are the differences but also what are the similarities to other systems.
Yeah, I think first thing to note is that there's a small wedge underneath the heel of the prosthetic foot, and this is because it is an energy storing foot and will compress under body weight and under when you're walking. So this just it helps us ensure that you're going to be in the right alignment when you're doing this as bench alignment. If the person is going to be wearing trainers or shoes, include the shoe and the heel wedge, so that it's 5 millimeter heel wedge, and then the shoe, and then the foot is positioned inside that. The next thing is that the red line, this laser line, is coming from the middle of the foot. Is coming through 30 mil behind the center of the foot, and so this is a laser or alignment reference line position. And this will be different on the foot if you have cut it down or not cut it down. So that's why it's not marked on the foot specifically. The alignment for the knee, however, does have a little line on the anterior distal axis, which is highlighted in red circle on this picture. It does have a nice little line, so it helps you remember which one is the alignment reference point. And it's really crucial to note that the knee works best when it is parallel to the ground in this configuration, so that the joint is going to be working relative to gravity when the person is walking. Obviously, we don't want the knee to be upside down or back to front. We need it to be, in the right orientation in that sense as well. But if we tilt the knee too much, then you could affect the safety and stability. So it's really important to have that nice and parallel. So this is bench alignment. I don't know if we have a, yep, and then the height, obviously. So this proximal axis is for length assessment. And so if you're sitting at the desk now and you have your hand on your knee on the inside edge, if you rotate your foot out, you'll feel the top of your tibia, the tibial plateau, and that's where we measure on the patient for the limb length, and we add 20 mil so that we factor in the knee center of rotation as we rotate around that point in our knee. And so that helps you make sure that you get the right length. Obviously, if you have the shoe on the prosthetic at this point, make sure the measure includes the shoe height so that you are not making the leg too short.
Yeah, very nice. So these are the specifications that are really just the Circleg system. So most of the polycentric knees, they have different reference points, but we decided to have this reference point because our knee is made in a way that it's very, very stable. And this reference point supports this alignment in this way. And maybe now we can talk about the similarities to other systems, Lizzie. What is the same?
I'm trying to to think of an item to compare to. I guess in the sense of a 4-bar knee, you want the weight line to be in front of the joint so that it's not going to bend when you stand on it. So that is a crucial point. Obviously, the knee center height, that is also standard for most knee units. The positioning of the foot is also quite relative, very similar to like the Otterbock dimensions. A lot of other companies also refer to like the posterior third, so it's very similar in that range as well. Is there anything that
No, I think you summarized. I mean, in general, you can say it's very similar to any other modular system,
Yeah.
and I think now it's a good bridge to the next topic. That is, we from the Circleg side believe we don't want to leave prosthetists alone in this work, and that's why we created a lot of support material that guide you in your daily life in how to fit the system. If you forget the reference point, you can quickly look it up. So we created and will soon also upload and share this material on our website. Different materials that you can use in daily life, for instance, posters that you can hang up in your workshop, videos that you can quickly check on your phone or computer if you forgot how to align, tips and tricks on how to align, how to use the foot, how to cut it in the right way, how to adjust the cover, for instance. So for all of that, we created material that is very easy for the prosthetist to use. Also because we believe it's kind of teamwork also on this level. It's the prosthetist uses the product, but we want to make sure we support you the best we can in using the product. So all of this material will be soon available on our website to download for everyone that works with the Circleg system. And in your experience, Lizzie, does this make a difference when you have support material, or what is your perspective on that?
Yeah, it really does. I think, having like a standard procedure that you can do not only helps you get used to the system, but having the posters there is like, oh, I forgot to put the heel wedge under the foot. Let me just sort that out. Oh, I forgot that the knee need to be horizontal. Yeah, I can see that. Let me sort that out. And so when we're busy and we're tired and we're overworked, sometimes those things can slip, and we'll be like, oh, how did I have to do this one? I'm so used to using this product, but how do I use this product? And so having those reference guides really just takes the stress and the decision fatigue out of the job as well.
Yeah. And I think another important point is that we want to be very approachable for all of our customers. So in case there is anything you have with the product, something that you're not sure of, or something that you feel like, there's a technical issue, that you always can approach us no matter how or what. And I think that's something that's really important to us because we want to be there together with you in providing this system and having the impact eventually to empower or make people participate in daily life, which now closing the circle to the beginning of the session is the main goal. And maybe to now coming towards the end of the session, Lizzie, what would you give as a tip to prosthetists that work with the Circleg system for the first time?
On top of the things that we've said, I think it's important when you're aligning with the person on your static alignment, making sure that the flexion angle is correct and trying to adjust the rotation from above the knee first. Often I see people adjusting the foot turnout before the person starts walking. if you have in the bench alignment set up the knee and the foot in the same alignment with 5 degrees turnout compared to the socket, it's going to work quite nicely in coordination with each other. When you see the rotation doesn't look right on the static, then you need to check that your socket rotation is correct first and it's fitting right, the patient put it on properly. But also, if you go and turn the foot out without turning the knee, and then they've got the knee turned in, and they start walking, you'll start getting all these wiggles, and you'll be fighting an uphill battle trying to get it all back in rotation. So I think that's crucial. The knee does work nice when it's rolling over the foot, and they're in rotation with each other. And so checking dynamic alignment before changing the rotation of the knee, because it could be the socket that's not in right rotation.
Yeah, so that was a very technical first tip. And now if you zoom out again and if you think of the whole session of where we started with, okay, holistic approach, participation, listening, how would you say to kick off working with Circleg, what are the tips and tricks that you would now say this is the way to start?
Okay. Yeah, I do get quite zoomed in sometimes. I think making sure that the person trusts the toe and can kick it through, to release the knee and swing it through. Some people might be used to a locking knee. This knee, you can really put weight through the toe before you're stepping off, before it will release. And so improving that trust is good, because they might have been on something that was not as stable before. Yeah. Is this the
No, it's good. I mean, and I think that's also maybe a good sentence for the end. I mean, prosthetic care, as we all know, is very complex. There's different topics coming together, and we continuously want to grow and learn and innovate. And I think that's the role also of Circleg in what we do. We really want to be a driver in innovation and eventually impact. And we see our role as a facilitator for sure on the product side, but then for sure also in being a bridge between the prosthetists, the amputees, and eventually also all the policymakers in the field, you know, to really bring the impact that we want to bring. And talking about this complexity and to have a really nice ending also of this session, Lizzie, if you would have a want and you know say, okay, this is something I would really love to have in the prosthetic field, what would it be?
I'd like everyone to have access. I'd like it to be automatic that patients get this support and can live as active as possible, because the more that you can participate in life, the better your quality of life, and the more you give back to society, and it builds and builds from there. I think, yeah, I think people need to be able to access the prosthetics that will work for them.
Beautiful, beautiful end word. I think that's I couldn't have said it better. It's really nice, and I think accessibility or to make it more accessible is the vision or the aim of many of us. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful word to end this session. And as a reminder, so this session also will be uploaded on the website of Circleg, so it's available for you to listen again. If you have a section that you're like, this was interesting, maybe let me go back. We have other webinars that are already on our website, and we have two series actually. One is for prosthetists, and one is more targeting the users, the amputees, with different guests, different experts, different topics. And the idea is really to share knowledge, because we believe when you know better, you do better. And we want to make this knowledge available from our side and also facilitate in the sense of inviting very interesting guests that talk about the different topics. So if you have also a topic that you would love that we talk about or invite someone, please reach out to us. We are also very open to feedback. And now talking about specifically material about the Circleg system, it will be soon available on our website, how I said, and you will also see it on our social media channels. And if you have something that you say, well, I would love if I have this or that, please reach out to us as well. We are very happy to receive this feedback and then maybe create something also together, you know, that supports you in your daily life.